everyone, my name is Jodie Flavell and welcome to my channel. I am the artist and owner of Decoris Vintage Designs, and what I really want today, I just thought we could have a bit of a natter. So I started painting and I set up my Instagram account just over a year ago, and I just kind of want to talk about a little bit of what I've learned since then. So just grab a cup of tea, we're going to have a really nice sort of relaxing natter, and I've also got myself a list so hopefully I don't waffle too much. So the first thing I want to say is when you start out your business is don't underprice yourself. So the first thing you obviously need to do if you want to start selling furniture is to get yourself on different selling platforms, and there are loads out there. I will link them all in the bottom. The ones that I like to use is my website, and I advertise that mostly over social media. Etsy is probably where I get my most sales, and I'm also on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. There are a few others which I'll link below, but I was using so many at one point that I just decided to focus on the select few because it was just becoming a little bit overwhelming. Pick a price that you're comfortable with, do a little bit of market research, and you know, if you're not comfortable going straight up there with your prices, don't also go straight down there with your prices either, because then it can make it really difficult to then push those prices up. So obviously when you start out, you are not going to sell things for, you know, as expensive as you might do a year down the line like I am doing now, but you also just don't want to cause a situation for yourself where it's going to be difficult to bump those prices up in the future. The first piece I ever sold was £49 on Etsy, I think. It might have even been £39, I can't remember. It was cheap. It was a disaster. So I sold this piece really cheap. It was free delivery as well on that, and I sent it down, so it went down to Kent, which is near London. So I sent it via Hermes rather than a trusted courier, and anyone who knows Hermes, well, that was not the best idea. So anyway, it got there. Firstly, it went to the wrong address because I put the wrong postcode. Yep, I put the wrong number or something, or letter or something in the postcode, so it went to the house around the street. So I had to phone the customer, profusely apologise, and so off he went to collect his little bedside table around the corner. And then when the table arrived, the top of it was completely busted, so it was broken. So I was like, oh my god, this is awful. I was like, you know, I had all these like kind of crazy thoughts in my head, like I might as well just give up now. I'm gonna get a bad review. It's my first sale and it's gonna be the only review I get on Etsy. I'm not gonna ever be able to sell again. You know, all these negative thoughts started coming in, and that could have really happened, and I would have had to have dealt with it then. However, what happened was this guy was just so lovely. I phoned him up, I offered him a full refund, which he wouldn't take. So then I actually had to convince him to take at least half of the amount, which he did. And then he left me just the sweetest review. It was just so kind. And then all he said to me was just use it as a lesson for future. So use it as a lesson for any kind of future sales, and I did. And I have never had an issue since, really. I've had a couple of hiccups, I've had a couple of things I've had to learn, but anyway, I am waffling now. So the next thing I would advise you to do is get yourself on social media. So there are a lot of social media platforms out there again. You might just want to focus on one to start with. When I first started out, I focused mostly on Instagram. Instagram was my platform. And then I moved on to Facebook, and then Pinterest, and now YouTube. So I've kind of gradually, I haven't gone all in and done them all at once. I've gone in and sort of focused on each one step by step. So yeah, so make sure you get yourself on social media. Make sure you're using hashtags. I think on Instagram you get to use about 30 hashtags. On Facebook they're not as important, but what you can do on Facebook is advertise, boost your post, and then get people, and then invite people to like your page. That's something that you can do if you want more followers on Facebook. Pinterest, again, you can use up to 20 hashtags, and I think YouTube's 20 hashtags as well. It might be 15 on YouTube, I'm not sure. Someday I will do a video on all the different social media platforms and go into them in depth. And you are posting pictures and things, make sure you take some good pictures. I use a Google phone for my photos, and it's fantastic. Like, it just takes excellent photos. So I don't feel the need to go get a camera. The Google for me is just, and this is by no means an advertisement, I just want to say that, it's just been a perfect phone for me in taking photos, and I think the Samsung Ultra is a pretty good phone, I've heard, for taking photos as well, but most are, so make sure you take some good photos. Try and use natural light. If you don't have a lot of natural light, like in this room now, there is no natural light. It's north facing, it's covered, the window's totally covered up by furniture, so I've got 2 big soft boxes there lighting me up, so go and invest in soft boxes if you need to, and again I'll link below what I use. When I start talking about social media, sorry, I've just cut my own fringe and I've not done a very good job at it, and it's just not staying where it's supposed to, so I'm constantly flicking it out of my face. With social media, what I want to say is don't paint for social media. And that is so important. Like, when you paint, it's important to paint, I think, for yourself, and to paint for what you're feeling like and what you want to do at that time. Now, I know it's not always that straightforward if you want to do sales. Some people might paint 2 things as they want to paint them, and then paint 1 thing safe to try and get that sale. But for me, I've always just painted what I want. Pretty much. What that has meant is that I've become very authentic on social media. And also it means, and this has taken a lot longer than what it might do for some people, but it means now that my sales were very slow at first, but now it means that my sales are my customers. So I have found my customer now. I know who my customer is, and so it's much easier to sell now. Yes, you could go out there and play it safe and paint to sell. And as I say, if you're happy to do that and you just want to do that and make some money, there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's very obvious sometimes the pieces and people and artists that do that. And I'm by no means saying there's anything wrong with it, but it's not for me. I like to see furniture painted as art, and so now I have followers and customers and things that expect that from me, and I now get to do what I love. Kind of try and encourage you to stand out from the crowd, because that is what's going to help you push up your prices eventually, because you find a niche market, you're doing something different and unusual, and you're going to get a much sort of stronger, authentic following. So your following will follow you for what you do, rather than, you know, somebody who might paint something the same as everybody else, that they're going to get followers that follow all those, you know, have a massive following. Does that make sense? They're going to follow lots of people. I just don't know what this is, I'm trying to explain. So, but if you do you will get people following you for that. I hope that makes sense. I don't paint just to get likes on social media. I've done that before and it never works out, never. Whenever I've painted with social media in mind and thinking, right, I want a piece that's just going to blow social media up, I paint to try and impress people. It never seems to work. If I paint for, you know, other people's validation, it just stresses me out and it takes away that creativity, and I start to get blocked and I can't paint. So what I do these days is I paint for me. Sometimes that can lead to some negativity, because I've done some kind of crazy stuff. Like, some of the stuff I've done is not for everybody, and I understand that. Like, I've done some very rustic things, I've done some very bright boho pieces, and they're not for everybody. So that kind of takes me on as well to the negativity side of social media. Firstly, you're going to get trolled. No matter what you do, no matter how safe your piece is, you will get trolled, and it's important to just ignore those people. I have been trolled a few times, and the first time it ever happened, I was like devastated. I phoned my mum and I was like, "Mum, I've just been trolled," and I was so upset. And he said like my art looked like a child had done it with watercolours and just scribbled watercolours all over it. It was super nice of him. I also, another one that sticks with me is I had 2 friends tag teaming each other in one of my photos, just laughing at my work and saying how disgusting it was. And I've also had, I'm trying to think, I've also been told my furniture belongs in a skip. So I've had some kind of harsh comments, and you can always tell the trolls from the people that might have a bit of constructive criticism, or the people that might just be saying it's not for them. So constructive criticism sometimes I feel like can be even harder to handle than the trolls. The trolls are just doing it because that's what they are. They're unhappy people, they want to upset people because they're probably not happy themselves. So, you know, whatever, I just delete them, get them off my page, or sometimes I might even like to wind them up and give them some love hearts and things, because they need love, don't they? Sometimes you get constructive criticism, and you know, that constructive criticism usually comes from a good place, and it's worth listening to. Even no matter how hard it is, it's worth listening to. So before I had this wall behind me, I've always wanted a staging wall that stands out from the crowd. I had this black wall and it had loads of gold on it, like it was just very kind of in your face. But what it was doing, it was distracting from the furniture. So whenever I was posting a picture, people were constantly asking about my wall. And I was like, at first I was like, oh, they like my wall. But then later down the line, when they were still asking about my wall and people weren't focusing on the furniture, I was like, okay, this is not good. And then I even had a lady once comment on one of my photos and say, this piece is really nice, but the wall's distracting. And I commented back and I said, that's fair play, I'm going to repaint it, thank you for your feedback. I really didn't want to repaint the wall because it's hard work. I really didn't want to hear that the wall was distracting. But there you go, that was some constructive feedback for me. And then you've got people that just comment on photos and say, it's not for me. Why those people don't just scroll by, I don't know, but they feel the need to jump on a photo to tell you that that photo is not for them. I don't worry about them. They are not your people. Don't worry about it. Just move on. They're not your people, so just move on and find your customers, because you're not going to change their mind. I wouldn't get upset about it, because who cares? You're gonna paint stuff that people aren't gonna like. You're gonna paint stuff that is just not for some people. But then you're gonna paint stuff that same piece someone will absolutely love. So please don't try to impress everybody. Your customer is not everybody. Do you see what I mean? So don't get upset or offended if somebody's just not that impressed by your work, because like sometimes I get cry faces on videos, and again I'm just like, why are you watching a painting video if you don't like painted furniture? I don't know. So just try and move on from those people and don't let that negativity get you down. And also another way that negativity can happen is by comparing yourself too much to other people. So I've done this, I've been there. This tea is amazing, by the way. One thing I love about cold weather coming in is that I can drink so much tea. Always gonna be somebody who does something that you may be a little bit envious of. You know, some people also might be more successful than you, some people might be much successful much quicker than you, and everybody's got their own paths to follow. So don't let that stress you. It's natural for us to be envious, but don't let it become toxic. So yeah, I feel envious sometimes, and I put that in perspective. And so you can flip that on its head sometimes. So instead of thinking I'm super jealous of this person, why can't I have what they have? You've got to think of it more as I'm inspired by this person and I want what they have someday, and I'm going to work towards that. And that's just a much healthier way to kind of view it. So try not to compare yourself to other people. It doesn't do you any favours, and then it's just, there's a lot of immediate gratification in social media, and you know, it's all to do with dopamines and things, and it can be addictive. So don't compare yourself to others, and don't focus too much on those likes, because if you start focusing on those likes and comments too much, you'll just go crazy, and it'll be all you think about. And I've been there. When I first started, I was there. When Dixie Belle Paint, so I'm a content creator for Dixie Belle Paint, and they share my stuff sometimes, and some photos do better than others, and I used to get stressed. I'm like, oh, they've shared my work and it's not doing that well, and I hope they don't get upset by it, and I hope, you know, I just want to do a good job for them, sort of thing. But now I don't stress. Some photos do well, some don't. Some photos are for some people, some don't, some aren't. But even the photos that don't do very well always sell eventually, because my customer is out there. You really can't motivate yourself with negativity. You just can't. Negativity will leave you lethargic, it'll leave you unhappy, and you know, you just can't motivate yourself like that. So try and stay positive. And if you feel like you're getting into that kind of mindset where you're just like, God, I'm so stressed, I need a break, take a break. Have a break. Take a day off social media, take a couple of days off social media, you know, whatever you need. Just remember there is life outside of painting, and those likes aren't everything. They're nice, but they aren't everything. have confidence and have self-belief, because I guarantee whatever you're doing it right. You can't really go wrong with paint as such. Art is art. Like, I've been to a gallery and I have seen a canvas painted in black, and it's just on the wall there painted in black. I don't get it. But it's art. Just because I don't get it doesn't mean it's not art. Just because it means it wasn't for me doesn't mean it's not for somebody. Just remember, it's only paint. So even if you do make a mess up, you can just get straight in there and just, you know, fix it or repaint it. You know, so you don't have to be perfect with painting. You know, you can experiment and then repaint it if it goes wrong, or you might experiment and find something amazing. Okay, and the last thing I just kind of want to talk about, it's more of a practical thing for when you are painting furniture, and that is always do the right prep. Prep is so important. Every piece of furniture you get needs to be cleaned, and I like to clean with Dixie Belle's White Lightning. I'll link that below. It's only available, I think, in the US at the moment, maybe Australia. It's not available in the United Kingdom. But I also like to use, if I run out of that, I use TSP. So I'll link that below as well. And then just look at a piece of furniture. What are you going to be doing with it? Are you going for a smooth finish, or are you going for a textured finish? That will help you decide whether or not you want to sand it. Is it battered? Do you need to do some repairs? Are you happy with those little nicks in there? Will those little nicks kind of contribute to the oldie-worldy look? There are nicks on this piece that I've left on here because it's kind of a little bit rustic and weathered. So I haven't bothered with all the repairs. However, if I had a big gaping hole somewhere in it, then I would definitely repair that. I also haven't worried about sanding this piece because, again, it's a textured piece. But if I was going for a clean cover, you know, a clean crisp look, then I would sand. Also, is it prone to bleed through? Do you need a primer? Dixie Belle do a primer called Boss, which is perfect for odours, bleed through, you know, and strong colours and things like that, which I can link below. They also do a primer called Slick Stick, which is for slippery surfaces. I have used Slick Stick on glass and things like that before, you know, really slippery surfaces, and it adheres perfectly. That's it, guys. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I really hope this has helped you. These are kind of the things that I just wish I knew about when I started. The last thing I would actually probably say is, if you can find a community on Facebook, then it's definitely worth joining one. There are a lot of free painting communities on Facebook you can join, such as Furniture Painters Unite, the Inspired Artisan group, you know, groups like that. And it was just a safe place that creatives could get together and get advice. And it also just helps. It can be a little bit lonely sometimes being at home painting on your own all the time. So it can just help you connect with other people and just help you, you know, keep that social aspect going that you might miss otherwise when you're not going into an office or wherever you might go to work. But yeah, guys, just make sure that you believe in yourself and stay positive. Whatever you're doing now, you know, just keep at it and just keep striving for, you know, you don't strive for perfection, but feel inspired by things and strive to learn new things. So it's not about being perfect, it's about trying new things and learning and growing. It's about growing. And that's all I've really got to say, guys, today. So thank you so much. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel. So if you did like this video, then please share it around. I would really appreciate it. Drop me a comment below. Vlogs are going to be something I start doing on a regular basis. If there is anything that you would like me to talk about in these vlogs, then just drop me a comment below and tell me what you would like to see, and I will do my best to kind of try and help you out. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and just keep doing you.